Hello, everybody. Welcome into the Casual Sports Podcast. As we have the black box Matt in the middle of the screen. Don't know why.
I thought you were blacking him out on purpose.
Guess we'll kick him out of here until he resolves that problem. But I'm Alek. Koberna. Was Matt Morrison's black screen, and you're Mike Wolfgang.
Yep.
Welcome in, everybody, to YSNLive.com. Mike, how's it going? Finishing out another week here.
Man, another long week, but I think this is Friday's the only day we were all together, right?
Tuesday.
Oh, Tuesday, that's right. Yeah, but I come late, so this is like the whole,
There we go. No idea why that happened.
I think I blacked out on purpose by Alek. Sometimes he does that.
Yeah, I know.
No, I kick him off the broadcast. I can't black out his screen.
He just kicks him off.
Yeah, whatever.
Kicks me off.
All right, well, let's get things started here. High school recap. I had a phenomenal game last night. Canfield, the Cardinals, Lady Cardinals, I should say, were going up against Poland Seminary, the Bulldogs. This was a one-point game the whole way through, and Alyssa Dill for Canfield was going off down in the stretch with Summerfield, I think it was as well. And this team for Canfield they were playing on a whole nother level last night to finish things off. Got a little chippy down there on the floor, a lot of aggressive play down at the end. Poland made some mistakes, right, as things were getting into the thick of things in the final few minutes, turnovers and careless mistakes. And Matt's going to cut out again randomly. Careless mistakes, and it compounded into a little bit of a slip up there at the end. Canfield comes out on top. This was game of the week. WKBN was there. Obviously, YSN was there. Both these teams were top 100 in the state, so it was going to be a good matchup. It was billed as one of these top games, and it really lived up to the hype that it was supposed to be last night. Canfield comes out on top 47-41. Didn't really mean anything in terms of playoffs or anything or conference play. It was just regular season, friendly exhibition to get both teams ready for playoffs. Canfield has a playoff game coming up in tomorrow actually is when their playoff game will be. So that should be fun for them. It was an electric environment there. I was amazed how many people they had out there in that gym. It was full capacity for the most part. I mean, I saw it only a little bit more full earlier this season when the boys were going up against Cheney High School in one of the other best games I've seen over there. But Canfield, definitely a great squad. Poland dropped to 17-4. A little bit of a stunner last time, but they split the season series one apiece. Matt, what did you have?
So last night I had the Badger Braves girls taking on the Chalker Wildcats. And, the girls, they lost the game the night before, and they lost by 30 points. So they needed to have a bounce back game. And they did that last night. They won 50-18. Man, Addison Thompson was going off. 22 points on the night. Grexa did her thing too, but Thompson was just amazing last night, as well as the Miller sisters, Juliana Miller and Gabriella Miller. Great defense by them. Man, it was Miller time last night for them, but it was a great game. It was a good bounce back game for them, and I look forward to seeing them in the tournament here very soon. So see if they can make a little run, but it was a good bounce back win for them last night.
Yeah, sounds like it here. How about high school preview, Matt? What do you got going on tonight?
So tonight I got the Badger Braves boys taking on Fairport Harding. So this one should be pretty good. Last time these two teams played, it was just a 2-point win, actually a 1-point win for Badgers, 68-67, and that was in Fairport. So they got home court advantage now. A couple other things, Jack Lendeck, still continuing on that scoring rampage. Hopefully he can continue that tonight. He's trying to catch his dad's record. It's like, 1,100. I think he's getting around to breaking his dad's record, his scoring record. So that'd be something to see there. And we could possibly see the return of Carter Burnett tonight. It all depends on one very important person, not the doctors, not the coaches. It's his mom. He broke his arm a little bit ago. Last time they played Bristol, broke his arm. He's been sidelined for 3-4 weeks now, and so he's going in today, and he can find out if he is able to play. But that will not matter at all unless his mom gives him permission. So I'm going to find that out a little bit more about that later today when I go on the Power Hour today, because Coach Josh Epshire will be on there later, so that'll be interesting. But that's the big decision here tonight. It's senior night, and he's hoping to come out and play one final time because he's a senior and he might not get that chance again. So.
Yeah,
it sounds like you should have a pretty good game on your hand. On my side of things, I have a doubleheader going on. I'll start things off 5:30 in a championship game just north of campus here in Youngstown. Cardinal Mooney, Ursuline, the Holy War, the best rivalry in the Valley. I mean, these two schools battled it out earlier this season. Mooney took the win in that one, 49-36. On paper, Cardinal Mooney looks like the better team, but for whatever reason, Ursuline, despite being 7-12 in the season, they are 4-1 in Steel Valley Conference play. So tonight determines Steel Valley Championship for girls basketball between these two opponents in the Holy War. So that should be an epic game. It's on the road for Mooney. So they won the home court one. Now they got to find a way to win it on the road before they go into playoffs here. Coming up just next week, their first game on the 16th. So that should be very exciting for the fan base right now. But at this moment, I mean, eyes have to be on the prize tonight against Ursuline, a team that really has been bad at home. They're 3-6. But as I said, when you play when you go 4-1 in conference play and 7-12 otherwise, it really doesn't matter because your goals at that point sit solely on winning your conference. That's where Ursuline is going to be sitting going into this game. So I'm expecting a battle tonight because Ursuline at the moment 4-1, Mooney 3-1 in conference play. Winner takes home the crown. So a whole season boils down to one game. It might be the biggest game either one of these teams play this season.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna be fun.
And my second game we got going on here, once again, it's the Holy War. But this one, over in the boys' side of things, they'll take on the 7 o'clock game, 11-7 Cardinal Mooney, 12-8 Ursuline Irish. Cardinal Mooney at this point 3-2 in Steel Valley Conference play, and Ursuline 2-2. So this one will not be deciding any Steel Valley championships, unfortunately, as both teams were in the running coming down the final stretch. But Cheney, they're having such a great season, they've pulled things off, and so long as Cheney gets past Youngstown East tonight, they will crown themselves champions of the Steel Valley. And if Mooney can win tonight, they'll be second in conference play, falling just behind Cheney in that department. So it's going to be a great game, no doubt. I mean, two rivals in the Holy War, and whenever these two hit the hardwood, it's something to watch. And Ursuline kicked butt last time in this game. It was 51-27, an absolute runaway. So that was during one of Mooney's worst stretches of the season. They lost 3 straight games and the only 2 losses in conference play as well. So they're hoping for a bounce back. They have the talent to do it. This is a team that beat Cheney earlier in the season. They handed Cheney one of the only losses they have the only loss they have in conference play at least. So this is a team that can win. It's a matter of will they tonight. So they got to hope for their big guys to step up. Coming down in this final stretch of the season, guys like Mick Hergenrather got to have big games. Rocco Turner, the young sophomore, he's got to the second leading scorer of the team, averaging 12 points per game. It's got to be Rocco and Mick tonight.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I got Rocco and Mick. Is this Rocky?
See, yeah, I was going to tell you to point it, man. I was going to tell you. I knew you had it there.
I got Mickey and Rocky.
Oh yeah.
Well, it should be a slugfest there. How about that?
How about that? Should be a brawl.
Should be a good game. I'm on the call, YSNLive.com, 5:30 and 7 p.m. for those 2 games. Steel Valley Championship on the line, but we have maybe an even bigger championship on the line this weekend, guys. The Super Bowl, the NFL Championship. How you guys feeling about this one coming into it? You feel hyped? You ready to go?
Go ahead, Matt.
Oh, man, this is going to be a game. This is probably going to be one of the best Super Bowls ever, honestly. I've seen some good ones, since I've been alive. I mean, a couple ones I haven't seen. I mean, it's got to be, that Rams-Titans one from, 1999, where it came down to the last play, and I think the wide receiver was like 2 inches from the end zone. Obviously, a lot of people look at that as the best Super Bowl. But since I've been alive, this has got to be up there as a chance, up there with, the Seattle versus New England one where the interception at the goal line. That was one of the best Super Bowls ever, in my opinion, that I've seen. So, and even the Steelers-Cardinals one, it's going to be a good one no matter what. I think it's going to be a very close game. It doesn't really matter to me who wins this game. I think both of the quarterbacks and teams deserve it. I mean, obviously they got there, but more with Stafford. 12 years with Detroit, and he stuck with them for 12 years, and finally leaving, and look what he's done now. Just imagine if he would have left a while ago, but that shows how loyal he really is. I know he left, but to stay with a team like Detroit for 12 years, only 3 playoff appearances, which of all were losses in those 12 years, and he's still stuck with them. He didn't just leave after that, like, oh, they're bad, I want to leave. He stuck with them for a long time. So to finally get him in the Super Bowl is just a milestone, and it's great to see him finally get there. It really is. And then on the other side, Joe Burrow. I mean, it's his second year. Last year he tore his ACL, MCL, he was banged up pretty bad. Just got comeback player of the year last night, and he's ready to come out and just, give this Bengals team their first Super Bowl. So, it's their first Super Bowl appearance in 30 years. So, and they've lost the last 2 Super Bowls they were in. And, they were close games, but they still lost them. So, we'll just have to see. It should be a pretty good game.
Matt, to sum up what you're saying, when I look at these Super Bowls in any championship matchup, I try to see what the storylines are, and there's a ton of storylines coming out of this game because like you said, Stafford, with the Rams too. I know last year Tampa Bay won it at home, but the Rams are at home. They could be the second team to do it again, back-to-back years
both
too.
From the SEC. They're both former first overall picks as well. There was one other thing. What was it? Both.
I got a bunch of stuff. I'll go down here in a second.
Yeah. They were both number 9.
But yeah, with the Rams, they could win it at home. That would be back-to-back years. We never had that up until last year. Now with back-to-back years, we could have a team win it at home too. And with the Bengals, like you said, they stunk 2 years ago. That's just getting Burrow, getting all these young guys.
Last year,
there's tons of storylines. Whoever wins this game, but I feel like they're similar too because for each quarterback, it's a good situation to be in, Matt, because there's more pressure on Matt Stafford with all the talent they have and him getting traded there, him being the guy, but he's comfortable in his own environment. Joe Burrow, you're in the Super Bowl. People keep saying the Bengals are kind of playing with house money because they didn't expect to be there. Once you get to the Super Bowl, you want to win it. Nobody's playing with house money in the Super Bowl, and especially not Joe Burrow in these Bengals. So there's storylines everywhere, and I can't wait for it.
Yeah, it really is. Rams 12-5, Bengals 10-7, but you can pretty much throw records out the window. There's those kind of stats from the regular season out the window. It's here now. It's winning time. Coming down to this Sunday one, we're going to have a great halftime show as well, which should be really fun. Excited to see all those big names showing out there. But, coming into this one, you got to – I love the all the storylines to put in it, and this is one of the cool ones. This is the 4th instance in Super Bowl history between opposing starting quarterbacks who wear the same number. Staubach and Bradshaw did it twice, and Staubach and Grease did it once as well, or twice as well. Staubach, did it as well, and it should be a great game. And I love all those random stats that NFL will put out there, like Matthew Stafford is one of 5 first overall picks to play more than 100 regular season games before making their first Super Bowl appearance. Each of those previous 4 won that Super Bowl. So stats in his favor right now. And Joe Burrow will be the first second-year quarterback to start in the Super Bowl since Russell Wilson in 2013 when he won the Super Bowl. Burrow will be 25 years and 65 days on the day of the Super Bowl, which was the exact same age as Russell Wilson when he won that Super Bowl. This is the first Super Bowl since the NFL started seeding postseason games in 1975 that does not feature at least one team that was the number 1 or number 2 seeds. Both teams are 4s coming into this. This list goes on and on. The Bengals are the 5th team to have a rookie lead them in receiving during the regular season and reach the Super Bowl. Each of the previous 4 teams lost the Super Bowl. Teams wearing white jerseys have won 14 of the last 17 Super Bowls. Rams are in white this weekend. Bengals wearing black. The designated home team, which are the Bengals this year, is 23-32 all-time in Super Bowls and have lost 11 of the last 15. And Matthew Stafford and Joe Burrow's 31 combined regular season interceptions are the most by opposing starting QBs in the Super Bowl since Tom Brady and Kurt Warner back in 2001. And Joe Burrow, he's undefeated in the postseason, man. So this should definitely be a fun one to see. Obviously it being in the Rams Stadium should be a big impact. And, you run down all the storylines. You guys give a little bit more insight into what you think's going on here. But I think at the end of the day, it's going to be who comes out there, who wants it the most. I mean, throw everything else out the window. This is a Super Bowl. This is where the stars shine brightest. And we're going to find out. You find out what you're made of on this stage. You can have the greatest of seasons. You can have the best of defenses. Look at what the Chiefs did. I mean, against Tampa Bay, they had a great season. They got to the Super Bowl, and they got their rear ends handed to them on a silver platter because every weakness they had got exposed. The 49ers, when they took on the Chiefs, their weaknesses got exposed in their passing game. Jimmy G, they needed him at the end of it, and he flopped down at the end of the game. He overthrew his guy, and they lost a chance at the Super Bowl. And every single time, you find out who that guy is. And we got a lot of guys coming into this one that have always tried to be that guy, and we're gonna get the chance to see one of them step up. And I can't wait to see who it's gonna be. I think it's so weird with LA right now because this isn't the team I think you would have expected to go to the Super Bowl if you were to look at their recent teams and what they put together. I mean, you go back to, the Gurley years and what he was doing in those 2-3 seasons where he was straight up balling out and Jared Goff was going amazing. The defense may have even been better at that point, but they always fell up short. They brought in their guy in Stafford and they get there to the championship now. And we get to see if he really is that guy, the Hall of Famer that he's kind of been touted as, whether it was his time in Detroit or what he's done this season. He's been the quarterback for 2 of the greatest receiving years of all time. So he's got the numbers. Now it's time to get the award. So I'm interested to see what happens. Burrow's got a long time left. Obviously, one here to start it would be great, but it helped Russell Wilson kick off his career with that early title in 2012. Nothing's happened since. So starting out's great, but hey, you got to keep going on. If you want to be that guy, you got to keep winning them. One's great, but nobody wants a one and done.
And that's my thing. What I just said about
the Bengals.
There's so
many great quarterbacks that have just won. Drew Brees. I mean, Aaron Rodgers. So, I mean, you want two. I mean, Russell Wilson currently is at 1, too. And I mean, with that Seahawks team, you don't really see them.
It's crazy to think that Russell Wilson won his first Super Bowl 10 years ago.
Yeah.
He's an elder statesman now.
It was crazy. I remember that.
This is one of the guys earlier in the year, I'm thinking that this guy's like one of the young guns. And no, he's one of the elder statesmen of the league now with all the grandpas retiring.
Yeah.
But that's my point.
That shows you how old I am because that's the quarterback I grew up with. I remember that 2014 NFC Championship where they came all the way back in the final moments I remember the onside kick. I remember the guy who got it. His name was Chris Matthews, who got the onside kick. It's crazy how I remember that name. He's not even in the league anymore. And then they go to that Super Bowl. I mean, it was a great Super Bowl. I wish they would have won it. And it's always going to be going back to why wouldn't you give Marshawn the ball? Okay, of course they knew he was going to get it, but it didn't matter. He was going to bulldoze them and get in the end zone. But they decided to throw it. It has been a headache for years, probably for more Seahawks fans than I am. But, I mean, can you just imagine that? Like, I remember all that. I'm old.
Yeah, but,
really
with that, we got to make picks on this, guys. And I think it's obvious which way I go. I love the state of Ohio, whether, it's a team from Cleveland, Columbus, Cincinnati, Youngstown, whatever it may be. When it comes down to at the end of the day, I'm Ohio through and through, and I'm picking my state. You guys know I do. There's been one time I really have picked against this state, and it was the Penguins and the Blue Jackets. That was hockey. You had to because that was the easiest pick ever made because the Penguins were on fire at that point. I mean, they were 13 straight games or something at that point.
Something like that, yeah.
Blue Jackets. That was just simple.
Starting it back up, Mike.
Super Bowl. Both teams are coming in flaming hot. I got to go with the former Buckeye. There's 4 Buckeyes playing in this game. 3 of the 4 are captains in the Super Bowl, so I gotta love those numbers out as well. It's
besides Burrow,
Joe Burrow. I think it's Von Bell, Eli Apple. All 3 of those guys are captains.
Okay.
It's crazy thinking Eli Apple's captain. He used to suck with the Giants.
And I don't know.
Yeah,
if
I
it's
know.
him, I can't think of who the other one is.
He bounced back. And how about Mike Hilton has bounced back too when he was he was good with Pittsburgh, but nobody really knew where he went. Now he's back here in Cincinnati.
Oh no, it's Sam Hubbard.
Oh, Sam
Sam
Hubbard.
Hubbard
Okay.
is the captain.
Okay.
Yeah, but depending on whether or not Jordan Fuller gets pulled up as well, there looks to be 6 Buckeyes actually in total. I think 2 of those are on practice squad, the inactive roster spots at the moment. So I think 4 are participating and 2 are on the roster technically. Isaiah Prince is also out there, but I don't think he'll be playing either.
Okay.
But
Before I make my pick, why aren't the Rams a home team? It's in their stadium. That's so
because they have to try to neutralize it, Matt.
Since
they can't.
They're not the home team technically. Do they go to the visiting locker rooms and not their own locker rooms?
Yeah, I think so.
Same thing happened with Tampa last year. They were the visiting team.
They were the visiting team?
Yeah.
Why?
Because they're already comfortable enough. You got to change things up.
That's a headache. Now they got to move all their stuff from that locker room. That why can't you just go the easier route and make them the home team because it's their stadium?
Well, Matt, it's just because the AFC and NFC alternate which conference hosts. Is the home and away team for the Super Bowl. So it alternates. So NFC wasn't last year. It was it was NFC's turn to be home last year. It was the AFC's turn this year, and it just ended up turning out this way.
Okay.
But I'm going to go ahead and
no,
get my
Tampa was visitors last year, right? Let me look it up.
Look it up. You look it up, I'll make my pick. But, Alek, you're going with the Ohio team. How can you not go with Joe Shiesty, man? He is sweet. He is sweet. I've liked him, for a long time. I like this band. All right, I'm a Steelers fan, and you can just kiss my butt, Pac-Man Jones. I ain't jumping on your bandwagon. I just like Joe Burrow, and I want to see a good Super Bowl. I'm not jumping on any bandwagon. And it's funny that you were coming out and speaking, with this team when you didn't do crap when you were there, Pac-Man Jones. And I hope you're listening.
Wait, to interrupt.
Really pissed me off. What is it?
Alek, last year they wore their road uniforms, but they were the home team. That's why I thought they were the road team.
Oh, okay.
So they wore their white uniforms, which are their road ones, but they were actually the home team.
Oh, okay.
So you're right.
Okay. But I'm not jumping on any bandwagons. I've been on the Joe Burrow bandwagon since he's been with the Tigers, okay? So take that, Pac-Man Jones. I'm not on the Bengals bandwagon. I'm on the Joe Burrow bandwagon. How about that? But I got to take Burrow here in the Bengals. They got all the weapons. They got Jamar Chase. They have a great defense. Alek, you said some of those names there. Sam Hubbard.
So do the Rams,
one of them. But, yep, so do the Rams. They got the older dogs. Aaron Donald, he's still young, but, Von Miller. And I really like what Eric Waddell has done. He was retired in, 5-6 weeks ago. Now he's going to be a signal caller in the Super Bowl. So you never think that he was going to be back. And, yeah, that's pretty cool. So they're both evenly matched. And, Matthew Stafford, I have all respect for him. And if they end up winning this game, that's great. They have their weapons too. Odell Beckham Jr. is one of them. The guy was going off in the playoffs. And then, of course, Cooper Kupp. How can you beat that? So the Bengals are going to have their handful. But I don't know. I just got that feeling that, Ohio is going to get a championship. So I got to go Bengals here. Mike,
Matt, I don't like the Rams either. I like Stafford, and I kind of like Aaron Donald.
I like Stafford.
I don't like the Rams. I never have.
I love Matthew Stafford, but I can't stand the Rams. I can't.
But what the point was that I was making earlier with the Bengals, I keep hearing people on, ESPN, all these networks saying, oh, they're playing with house money. Well, just like with Russell Wilson, though, like we were just talking about, when you get to the Super Bowl early, and just either if you win it or lose it, there's no guarantee you're going to get back. Russell Wilson hasn't been back there in almost a decade. So obviously the Bengals are there now. The confidence of Joe Burrow and this team, they want to win it. And on the other side, too, obviously the Rams are there. They want to win it, too. They've made all the moves to get there. But, I'm worried about those 3 guys on defense for the Rams. Like you said, Matt, Aaron Donald, Von Miller, and Leonard Floyd. It's going to be hard for them to deal with that on the offensive line. But you saw in the Chiefs game, but Joe Burrow can get away from guys. He can scramble, and he's athletic. He can get away and make some throws. You know, I don't know. I don't. It's going to come down to defense. I'd probably give that to the Rams, but I'm just going to go with who I want to win. I think the Bengals are going to win. I don't like the Rams.
Yeah.
I'd rather have the Bengals win. So
I'd rather have
that's how I'm
Bengals.
making my
Yeah.
pick. So I think this on paper, this is pretty close. It's pretty even.
Yeah, I mean, even if you look at those regular season stats, they're pretty much lined up.
Yeah.
You know, either way, and the teams feel similar. I mean, superstar galore all over the place, young stars kind of showing up in the big moment. Even a few crafty veterans out there, and yeah, I think you gotta love it. But we're going Bengals across the board. Got to represent the state, so go Bengals.
Go Bengals.
Let's move it on past the Super Bowl. We'll go ahead and look at college basketball. Actually, before we do that, how about we go ahead and hand out highlights of the week before we get into that? Doing it a little bit earlier on the show.
I know mine.
Put in a little intermission between stuff.
Oh,
so
well, then go ahead, Matt. You already said it.
Oh, I know it, man.
Go
You
ahead.
know it. You probably guessed it. TJ Watt, man, winning Defensive Player of the Year. Unbelievable. It was about time. Should have won the past couple of years. And I really like how his brother was up there with him too. JJ, I mean, he's a two-time
you got
winner.
to present the award to him, didn't he?
Yeah, you got to present it to him, and that was really cool. That was really cool.
Matt.
But
Since you're talking about TJ, let me read this to you. I'm not saying this is Alek. I'm saying I know some friends of mine that are Browns fans still want to say Myles Garrett's better. TJ Watt leads in games played, interceptions, pass deflections, forced fumbles, sacks, total sacks, solo tackles, assisted tackles, and tackles for loss. He leads every single one of those between the two guys.
Yeah, he's the best. He is the best. Like,
and there's nothing against
year,
Myles Garrett. I'm just saying. I'm just backing up arguments.
There's no shade at Myles Garrett at all.
I don't think this season there was any argument on who should be the. As a Browns fan, Myles Garrett, he had an okay season. It was underwhelming though. He was in the race there for a while, right next to him, but TJ pulled away and Myles shut down. So that was a big part of it. I mean, 2 missed games, I think, kind of hurt his momentum a little bit, and I think he kind of let off the gas when this team was falling apart. It was a whole team that fell apart. It wasn't just one man. And
yeah, you're right.
Contributed to what happened with Myles Garrett and what his season ended up being. But TJ Watt showed up all 18 weeks of the season. Whether they played or not, he was there putting in the work, and he gets rewarded for it.
2 games.
I know Garrett put in the work too, but when you got a season like that, it's like we were talking about, Matt, you and I yesterday, when you were handing out those awards. There's just certain times when you do a certain thing and you're the best at what you've done that season and you're putting up records and leading stat categories the way you do, the award's just guaranteed yours. And he put together one hell of a season. Mike Tomlin has put together one hell of a system to allow TJ Watt to thrive and put him in as many spots to be successful as he can. And I think it's something that a team like the Dallas Cowboys should try and imitate. They got that young Micah Parsons coming up. Obviously defensive rookie of the year. I mean, I think he finished second place in defensive player.
And he was up there for defensive player of the year.
Yeah, and I think more teams should try and mimic the system that has allowed TJ Watt to thrive, because it's coming more and more apparent that if you can't get to the quarterback in this league, you will not win games. I mean, I think that's becoming the most simple realism, that teams, instead of looking for their number 1 pick in the first round to be a quarterback, they should be looking at linebackers and defensive ends, because those are the biggest game changers out there on the field. You can find somebody sometimes in the later stages of a first round, but you will not find that playmaker like Aaron Donald, Myles Garrett, or TJ Watt, or Micah Parsons late. Those are guys that you need to, if they're out there on the board and they have that potential, you need to get them, because it's becoming very clear the most valuable player on the field is on the defensive side of it. And, say what you about quarterbacks, their numbers, they have to play well. At the end of the day, though, if a quarterback on the opposite side has forever and a day to throw the ball, they're in the NFL for a reason. They're going to find it. So, yeah, I mean, TJ Watt is a game breaker, not even a game changer. He makes you change your game plan. You game plan around TJ Watt to try and avoid him in all situations, and he still finds ways to make you cry.
Oh, yeah.
He's devastating.
He made. I was talking about this yesterday, but Mike, you remember when we were at that Steelers game? Baker Mayfield was just sitting in that pocket. Next thing you know, you just see him just disappear, and we're like,
one quick thing on TJ before we move on to our picks. Even especially that Browns game we were at, you could just feel at certain points of the game that he was going to make a play
away just like that.
right before the plays happened. You're like, he's going to make a play, and he just does it. I mean.
Yeah, every time you need to play, he's the guy that steps up, and I don't know if you can
rearing to
find
go
that
that
anywhere
whole
else.
Yeah.
He was geared up in that game. He
Yeah.
was ready.
All right, Mike, how about you? What's your highlight of the week?
So I'm between two, so I guess I'll have an honorable mention. To kind
Okay.
of steal Matt, I'll go from the NFL awards. I'll go Michael Parsons because we were just talking about it. Matt, you
Yeah.
know what I love last night about his speech?
What's that?
There was people in the crowd. Obviously, there must have been Penn State people. They're saying "We are." His very first two words in his speech were Penn State. Love it.
All right, sweet.
But my honorable mention, I'm gonna go I'm gonna go Sunday. The Cavs picking up Levert. It was awesome, and being there for his first game and seeing his first points and all that. It was
sweet.
awesome.
That's sweet.
Well, coming into mine, I'm going to go more international and Team USA.
Yes.
Shaun White, the final ride. He doesn't come away with a medal or anything, but
No.
I mean, 20 years in the pro world of snowboarding. I mean, he's been an icon for our generation. I mean, we grew up. Everything was Shaun White. When he debuted in 2002 at the Olympics, he forever changed this sport. And seeing him, I didn't get the chance to see that final ride live, but seeing the replays and him just at the end of it holding his arms out wide, and just kind of
The whole
taking
crowd
that
was
final
going off.
moment as everyone's screaming for Shaun White. I mean,
Oh man.
that's got, if that's not at least up, I think when we get around to next December, unless you see a Cleveland team win or Ohio State win a championship, whatever it may be, that's probably going to be even my highlight of the year, because Shaun White, he's just one of those guys that you have to embrace it when he's here, because obviously now he's gone. We saw it with Michael Phelps. You had to embrace that final swim with one final time, because when he's gone, you're never going to see somebody like him again. And Shaun White changed the world of snowboarding. He changed. I mean, without Shaun White, there was really no X Games. He made that what it is today. I mean, the winter version of it, at least. And without guys like Shaun White, I don't think we have girls like Chloe Kim, who is now dominating the women's half pipe. And I honestly think without Shaun White, I don't think snowboarding would be what it is today. I don't think people would really tune into it very much during the Olympic Games. Without Shaun White, I really think people kind of tune out the Olympics in the winter season. You watch the hockey and maybe the figure skating, whatever sport you like, but for whatever reason, everyone turns on that snowboarding because you got to see what Shaun White's going to do. And, he took a slip down in his final runs, and it was fine. It was just, it was a perfect swan song to his ending. It felt like with that amazing group he was surrounded by, I think it was a metaphorical passing of the torch to have him say goodbye as you see guys flying 20 feet in the air doing the most amazing tricks you've ever seen. I think that was as a direct result of what Shaun White did for this sport. I mean, he did things no one else had ever even thought of, throughout these Olympics, throughout the.
He's amazing.
So, yeah, Shaun White, that's my highlight of the week. He doesn't win gold. Wish he could have had one more to finish things out, but a 20-year career in the professional world of snowboarding in the Olympics, that's no small feat. So, it seems like our childhood sports, heroes are, they're finally heading out.
Brady, Roethlisberger, Shaun White.
What's that say?
They've all been. It means it's a new era of sports, and that means we're ready for something new, and we can't wait to see what happens next, because what this generation we grew up with did for the sports world has forever changed it. We're never going back to what that 90s style was. That was its own thing. When that 2000s hit, the triple zeros, and this new generation took over, they created a mark that, everyone has their moments, back in the olden years of sports. They created something bigger than sports itself. They made sports worldwide. Whether even in, going into soccer, while it was already an international sport, the things guys like Messi and Ronaldo did in these last 20 years for the sports themselves have forever changed how we view sports. Guys like LeBron, like Kobe, like Shaq in the NBA in this last 20 years, Dwayne Wade, what they did for the sport was undeniable. Phelps, Shaun White in the Olympics. You have these certain athletes that just leave a mark that forever impact what happens for the rest of sports humanity. We may have just seen the peak of sports in these last 20 years. I don't know if we'll ever get this high in a sport again throughout the board. I mean, to have pretty much every sport, it seemed, have a generational talent like what we saw these last 20 years, I don't know if we're ever going to have that again. And I think with, Brady retiring, Big Ben going down, and now Shaun White saying, wrapping up the skates, I think it's one of those things that we just have to appreciate what we just saw once again, because you didn't know when it was going to be Michael's final game. You didn't know when it was going to be Kobe's. And when they finally say, this is it, you just have to go, damn, what a ride. And, Shaun White.
My point, though, is I know I'm 22, Matt. You'll be 23 in a couple months. That means that we're actually – I know we're not old, but, that's the people that – we're just a different generation.
Yeah, now we're talking about, when I was a kid.
I'm not saying we're old. I'm just saying it's
old,
20, mid-20s. It's you're seeing people – you're seeing the people that you watch.
Old when Russell won that Super Bowl. That's when I was just starting to remember everything. I'm old.
I'm not saying we're old, Matt. Because I told my dad.
12?
Matt, I was telling my dad, and he said the same thing when he was our age. He's like, we're at a point where there's NBA players coming to the league that are 19 that are 3 years younger than us.
What are you doing?
That's just how it is. I'm not saying we're old. I'm just saying that means that the people we watched are. What's he doing?
I don't know.
Turn on some lights. It's dark in this room.
Turn on some lights.
You can turn on the desk light. It was getting dark in here. It's cloudy outside, and it looked like it was getting dark.
Yeah, it is pretty cloudy. Oh, man, my snowman's falling apart.
Mine fell over yesterday.
The midsection just fell off.
All right, boys, let's move it on here into the college basketball preview. Your first game up, Big East action tonight, 7 p.m. Xavier and UConn, top 25 matchup. Loser falls out of the top 25. UConn 16-6. The Musketeers of Xavier 16-7. Both teams kind of been slipping in these last couple of weeks here, but UConn jumping back in the win category against Marquette. That's got to be a huge win in their books. They're third place in conference play. I think I'm going to go Huskies in this game. I would love to pick Xavier, the Ohio team, but RJ Cole's a special talent on UConn, and I think he shows up in a game like this. I got UConn.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to pick here. I mean, I like Xavier. I like the Ohio team, but, UConn, what they did the other night, what was that? Let me look.
80-72 over Marquette.
Yeah. Who'd they beat again?
Marquette.
Your Marquette team.
Yeah. When they beat Marquette, that last game, and that runaway dunk. When I saw that happen, I'm like, oh my gosh, where'd this dude come from? They look like a top contender. Yes, they've fallen off a little bit, but I think they're starting to resurge here with UConn, and I think they're going to pick up this win too. Xavier had a couple exciting wins to start the season, but have since kind of fallen into turmoil a little bit. So I gotta roll with UConn here. I think they're rebounding.
Xavier opened up as 3-point favorites. Now they're still 1-point favorites. I'm going to roll with the favorite. I'm going to go with Xavier.
All right. So we're not going across the board to start things off. Interesting. Normally, our first pick, we're pretty much all on the same boat. Not this time out. So, pardon me. We'll keep this in the state of Ohio. We'll look at some action going on. A big rivalry game, Kent State versus Akron. I love talking about these games. Kent State right now, 14-9 overall, 9-4 in conference play. The Zips, 16-6 overall, 9-3 in conference play. And Matt, Ohio picked up that win last night. We were talking about it against Central Michigan. They jumped up over Toledo for first place in the MAC. Akron and Kent, they're 3-4. Winner will take that 3 spot at the moment. Both these teams, great games, a 5-game win streak for the Golden Flashes right now. Akron does open as the favorite. I think that's more because they're at home in this one, because these teams very even, and 3-game win streak right now for Akron. You look at numbers in this game, they're pretty much identical across the board. So I think we're in for a showing tonight, and it might go to Akron just because they're at home, but I don't really – home court advantage when you talk these two teams is kind of silly because they're 20 minutes away from one another. You know? And if they're on the same highway, 76 goes all the way through both of them, I think is what it is. So I think it's one of those games you just kind of have to look at. It's like there's no home court advantage. These are neighbors. These are kids that probably are from the same neighborhood, depending on, you know, where they're from, because everyone from this from that region besides me goes to Akron or Kent, and you look at like the newspapers in your schools end of the year, everyone's Akron or Kent. All these people know each other. It's a friendly, bitter rivalry. Last time out, Kent State won 67-55 over Akron when they were back at home. Their main guy, Carey, put up 30-plus points in that game. I think he probably goes off again. He clearly got something. Sincere Carey from Solon, Ohio. I mean, 18 points per game on the season, and he got 32 last time out. Ollie Austin for Akron, he's averaging 14 points per game. Should be interesting to see how he performs. He's shooting nearly 50%. He wasn't big in that last game. You know, he had just 8 points. He's got to show up in a game like this. I'm hoping at home he does that. I think I got Akron taking the win in this game, and I feel bad because all football season we picked Kent going along because Akron was so terrible.
Yeah.
So I got to flip it back. I got to give a little bit of love to Akron here.
Yeah, but Carey, really good player there. You mentioned the 32 points last time they played. But how about Brian Trimble Jr. for Akron? Last game against when they played Bowling Green, he hit 10 3-pointers. That's just amazing what he did there. There's a dude to look out for right there. I'm going to go Akron here too. I mean, they're at home. They got all the advantage. They did lose to Kent last time, but, I mean, they were in Kent. Maybe it just goes the other way this time because they're at home. And
it's hard to beat the same team twice in one season. That's a big thing, too.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah, for that reason, I'm going Akron as well. I actually have an Akron shirt. I should have wore that.
Zips will be zipping.
But, yeah, let's go Zips.
Zipper.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they're named after.
Yeah.
The Zips. The Zippers.
We'll keep things in the state of Ohio for this next game. The game is what it's called. The Ohio State University coming off that loss last night. Devastating fall, or not last night, a couple nights ago. Devastating fall to Rutgers, 66-64. And they come in against a team that
I told you about that.
Hell out of number 3. That team to the north won 82-58. And they host the Buckeyes tonight. It's going to be an uphill battle. I need E.J. Liddell to step it up. He kind of went silent in those final few minutes against Rutgers. Rutgers was doing a hack job, and they weren't getting called on anything in the late stages. You know, it is what it is. I ain't going to complain about it. We should have been in a better position to win it, and they fell apart down in the end. Rutgers is a scary team to go up against. They're flying up the Big Ten rankings. They're 8-5 in play, and they're just behind Ohio State and that team up North State. For the 4th place potentially. So that's a team to watch out for. And this team up north, they're right behind Rutgers. So Ohio State's got to be careful tonight. Obviously, this team on the other side of the court is a monster. Dickinson is putting up 18.3 points per game. I need Liddell to have a big night, and I need the Buckeyes to step up. You know, I got to pick my Ohio State Buckeyes in this game. No way I can pick that team up north, even if it is in Ann Arbor, and even if they are kind of having a resurgence here in the late stages of the season. I got my Buckeyes. You guys know it.
Matt, you called that Rutgers win, and did you call that Michigan win for Purdue or no?
I
know you did Rutgers, and if I just want to say, if I would have listened to you and picked Rutgers, they would have won.
I picked Ohio State, but I'm like, watch out for Rutgers. They're very capable of winning this game. They might pick them, but I wanted Ohio State, so I picked Ohio State. But I mean, I picked a couple of them like that. The Texas versus. What was it? Texas-Kansas game. I was like, look out for Texas, though. If you play them lightly, they're going to get you. And then I did the same thing with Arkansas versus Auburn. I picked Auburn because, I mean, they looked unstoppable. But I'm like, they had that huge win over Baylor. And if they're going to go in here thinking they're going to get an easy win against Arkansas, they have another thing coming. And, well, look what Arkansas did. So
yeah, another thing.
Yeah.
Right, so you guys this game, Ohio State or that awful team up north.
I don't care what they did to Purdue or whatever. I don't care. They're not beating Ohio State. Ohio State got caught off guard against Rutgers. Okay, Rutgers will bite you in the butt here and there. No way I'm picking that team up.
I'm being serious. This one's actually hard.
It's going to be a close game. It's a hard pick, but I mean, it's. I'm not.
That team up north does normally win in basketball.
They had a fluke.
They do roll the hard.
That's why they beat. Purdue's on their way down.
Matt, don't say that. Michigan's not on a fluke. They're having a down year, but they're still good.
Hey guys, I do just want to point this out.
Alek even said it. Alek even said
Guys,
it.
I do want to point this out. Remember on Tuesday when we put out our rankings and we were saying the number 2 team in Matt's bracket always loses? Purdue went down, so I don't know who's number 2 next week, but I don't want to be them.
I tried warning them. I tried.
And you said Purdue's probably the weakest team in that top 4. Like they're on their way out.
I agreed. I agreed.
And that Michigan caught them. So they're not going to do it to Ohio State. No.
Mike, who are you taking this one though?
It's hard. I actually feel like this is a hard game.
I
feel like I'm pressuring to pick Ohio State because you guys yell at me whenever I don't pick that.
I don't care. Pick whoever you want.
Whatever you want, so long as you don't pick the maize and blue.
It's hard not.
Kick them out.
Ohio State had that bad loss. I expect them to rebound because I told you they are a hard team or a good team. I mean, and I expect them to win that game against Rutgers. So it's hard. Can you guys not do this, please? You know what? I'll pick Ohio State to shut you guys up.
That's a good pick, Mike. I think you picked the right team.
Shut us up.
I don't know if I am picking the right team. I think it's hard because Michigan's starting to play better.
Of his own accord, there was no influence there at all or persuasion to picking that team for that one. But
I picked Michigan in football, and you guys, and I got killed for a week, so I'm not doing that again.
Well, you got killed by Alek.
I got killed for the day.
You got killed by Alek. I just sat back.
No, you don't like it either.
All right. Let's move it on here. Buckeyes across the board, the way it should be. State of Ohio's picking up dubs this week. You know it. This one, we'll flip things over to a team that is normally pretty good when it comes to playoff time and March Madness time. I think they probably have a good night. I think they're probably going to make another run this season over in the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference, the MAAC, as it's referred to. The Iona Gales coming in right now, 19-4 overall, 11-1 in conference place. They got a game tonight against the Siena Saints, who are 10-9 in season in play, 7-4 in conference. I'm going to go ahead and roll Iona quick on this one. We're kind of running out of time here. Got a few more games. Down to. I'm going to go Iona in this one. We're coming off a loss last night to Niagara, but they were on a hot streak before that. I think they jumped right back on the wagon. The Saints are good. Iona is one of those teams. They're one of those you got to watch out for every year. They're having a great season. I think they roll again.
I've been hype on them. I picked them to be a sleeper team in the tournament. Rick Pitino, he knows what he's doing. He's been. He won. I know it was vacated, but he won the championship of Louisville at 2013. He still took a team there, and no matter what happened with all that stuff, but he still took a team there, and they won it. And he had some other solid teams. He was good in the NBA with Boston. I think he coached Kentucky too. And he's turning this Iona program around. I like to see it, and I've been hyped about him. I'm going with them. Got to go Gales.
I guess we'll go across the board with them, Matt, because when we were talking about sleeper teams being new that one show, they are one of the sleeper teams. Smaller schools that are sleeper teams, and they're having a good year.
They're going to win some games.
All right, Iona across the board. Next one here, the Hurricanes of Miami taking on the Demon Deacons of Wake Forest. It's a pretty good couple of seasons here for Wake Forest basketball and football. Kind of on the up and up, it seems. Wake Forest third place in the ACC right now. A half a game back going here could potentially launch them up to number 1 in conference play. They're 20-5 on the season. Hurricanes are 17-7. I think this is a great game. I think it's close. I think Miami might pull the upset, but I'm going to go Wake Forest in this game. I like what they've been doing right now, and I'm going with the Demon Deacons. I've kind of been jumping on that wagon. I like what they put out over there for Wake.
I'm going to go road team and pick Miami. I don't really pick my road team, so I'll go Miami.
Yeah. This is tough. Miami's had some good wins, but the Demon Deacons are a pretty good team as well. But I'm feeling it, Mike. I gotta go Hurricanes. I'm feeling something. They've had some upset wins on the season, and the Duke win. So I think they can come into Wake Forest and take the win. I gotta go Miami.
You're saying the Hurricanes? Hurricane?
Yeah. Dear God. What is wrong with you?
Stupid puns.
Why don't you take yourself off? There we go.
No, I run this thing. Next game up, Murray State 23-2 overall, still undefeated in conference play. The Racers at 20.
The Racers
in the nation, and they're taking on Moorhead State 19-7. Moorhead, Matt, they dropped that game just the other night to the Belmont Bruins, as we were talking about. It looked like it was going to be a good game. I said chance for Belmont there, but You know, they ended up pulling off. We were both wrong. Morehead State picks. I don't think Morehead takes this game either. Murray State's just too high.
Yeah, they are. I got to roll with the Razors.
Across the board.
There's another team. There's another sleeper team. So, got to roll with them.
Yeah, but don't get caught up in putting all these teams in sleeper team category. Let's not do that.
I know. But
every team's a sleeper, Matt. Mike, they're all asleep until they wake up. It's 3 a.m. Clock struck midnight, and they're just about to wake up in March.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if there was 118 teams, like Alex said the last show we were on, then yeah, every team would be a sleeper team.
Oh yeah, 120 teams.
100 whatever he said.
There's a whole bunch of sleeper teams, and they're all going to go.
teams.
Yeah, 128.
120.
Hey, look, I'm just saying. I think that'd be the greatest tournament.
We've had an off week. Look, Alex said there was 120 teams in the tournament. I said that the Rose.
I didn't have an off week. What did I do?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, Mike. You didn't do anything.
I didn't have an off week.
No. Well, you missed a couple days. So.
He's had plenty of off weeks in the past, though.
I missed one. I only missed 1 day a week.
I know. I'm just giving you crap. Yeah. You pick all the Texas teams.
Next game here, we'll head down to the Big 12 down south.
That's inaccurate. That's inaccurate.
On to a top 10 spot at the moment. They got the Longhorns of Tejas coming to town. This one in Waco. So obviously,
Mike gonna pick
both Texas teams. Who knows? But you got Tim Allen and Superman setting things up for Texas and coming into this game. Just 12 points a game. And on the other side of things, you got LJ Cryer for Baylor setting things up at his end. I think Baylor's still the better team in this one. I'm struggling to find reasons to pick them, though. In Texas, they seem to be heating up. They're coming off wins over Iowa State and Kansas. I think they potentially have another good game here. And I think because I never picked really that many upsets, I think I'm going to go Texas in this game. And that's probably going to bite me in the rear end. But I'm going to go Texas throughout this one. I don't think they actually pull it off, but I'll pick an upset here or there. I can't get too predictable on this stuff.
I'm going Texas because I don't feel the same way about Baylor anymore. I don't
honestly,
I don't trust them that much. I know Matt's going to pick Texas, and we're all going to pick the upset. Spoils the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm picking Texas too. Listen, all right.
Gosh darn it, guys!
Baylor's on their way down. We thought they were totally unstoppable, and then next thing you know, like, oh God, we're wrong.
Alek, every time you say, "Oh, I feel an upset with this one," Matt's like, "Oh, I do too." He always steals it from you.
Yeah.
Well, he always says it first.
He always puts that under on it. And now so do you. So.
One time.
All right.
Well, yeah, it's because I get to intro it.
I feel it too. I'm picking it.
Here, we'll head over to the Zags of Gonzaga. They're hosting the St. Mary's Gales. Both teams in the top 25 currently, but St. Mary's most likely to drop out after their loss on the 8th to the Santa Clara Broncos. A pretty good team as well, 17-8 overall. But the Marys definitely a team to potentially watch out for if they can make a run into the tournament. That'll depend on how they get put in there potential. 20-5 overall. So, same amount of wins right now as Gonzaga. Zags, though, they're heating up, and no one's touching them in conference play. This is a team now averaging 90 points per game. Like I think we've said earlier, Mike, this team, no one's touching them in conference play. This is another example of that. I got the Zags going big tonight.
Zaggies, give me them.
Yeah, me too.
We'll see. You're starting to heat up. We've been kind of waiting for it, and they're starting to mesh.
Yeah.
Next to this game tomorrow night, 10 p.m. game. It'll be a late one. Out west in Oregon, I believe, is where it is. Oregon or Washington. One of the two. I don't remember where Gonzaga is.
Washington, I believe.
It's not in the game, so how am I supposed to know? We'll go with now to the in-city rivalry, UCLA and USC. Some Pac-12 action, 2 top 25 teams, the Bruins and the Trojans, each with 4 losses on the season. Mobley's kind of been getting a little bit quieter for USC. They're getting back on a win, though, against the Pacific Tigers basketball squad. They suck. It was a weird game to throw in there for USC. I think they were trying to make up some cancellation, so they just had to grab onto whoever they could to find a game. I think UCLA takes this one. I think they're the better team. I keep losing confidence in USC. Every time I think they're going to do something right, they prove me wrong.
I'm picking them. They've been proving me wrong a lot too, but I'm going to go with them. We'll do it one more time and see what happens.
Matt, which team? UCLA, USC.
I'm going to go UCLA.
Oh, come on, Matt. You said they're overrated.
They are, but I think USC's
Overrated, but might still be the better of the two. This one, I'm going to take the first team I'm about to introduce, the Chattanooga Mocs. 21-5 on the season, first place in the Southern Conference. They're taking on the Furman Paladins tonight. Love the names, but I got Chattanooga in this one. So we got to wrap up the show.
I guess I'll take them. I don't even know who these teams are, so I guess
I'll go Chattanooga. I'll go.
I don't.
I know where that is.
Where are they?
Chattanooga?
Yeah.
Okay. They're in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Oh. Yeah, that's right.
Well, I'll pick them. I'll trust what you're saying, Alek.
Yeah, I'm going to go Chattanooga, too. Just because.
Okay.
I don't know.
You guys, you're weird that you don't know Chattanooga.
I knew it was in Tennessee. It's in southeastern Tennessee.
Okay. Moving on here, NBA Nuggets versus Celtics tonight, 7:30 game. Should be a pretty good one with some stuff moving around at the trade deadline. Interested to see how that shakes things up here. I think I'm going to take the Nuggets mainly because I really don't like Boston, so I'm gonna go Denver on this one.
I don't trust either of these teams, to be honest.
I'm going to go Boston.
I'm going to go Boston too, man. I'm with you.
I think they're bouncing back a little bit, so I'm going to go.
Yeah, I just don't like them.
I know.
That's as simple as it gets. Sometimes you just don't like somebody. That's how that takes a lot too. So.
Yeah.
Next one, we'll head into the NHL. Mike, you get another chance to pick a Texas team. It's the Winnipeg Jets taking on the Dallas Stars tonight at 8:30.
Okay, can I defend myself here?
No.
In hockey, you guys intentionally picked the Dallas Stars.
Of the week. Come on.
You guys intentionally picked them just because you think I'm going to pick them all the time. So for that, I'll go Jets. How's that?
I'm going
Jets. That's a bad pick. I'm going Dallas.
Yeah, I'm going Dallas.
You guys,
man, those Texas teams are really good, right, Mac?
Yeah.
You guys don't make sense.
Nope. But we're not supposed to.
If I would have picked Dallas, Matt would have picked the Jets again.
No.
Yeah.
Listen, I got to do meat of the week. So.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, you do. Oh well, this week's meat of the week, Matt, give it away.
I was gonna give it to Brad Marchand, but I mean that's more like he's just an ass.
Suspended 6 games too.
Yeah, I know, but this happened last night. It didn't count, but Kevin Porter Jr. messing around, bounced the ball up for a trick shot.
Yeah,
it went
I saw that.
Wrong hoop. Like it didn't go points for the other team or anything. It would be a violation.
Nick Nurse wanted it though.
Yeah, I know. Nick Nurse wanted it, but they were already up 139 to 120. Like it was not like a decision making.
They wanted that spread.
Bucket. yeah. But it's just
someone was trying to hit the over under in that.
And by the way, Matt, you were one of the ones that said trading Porter Jr. was a bad move. Does it look bad now?
No. I mean,
there we go. Just because we were bad last year, that's why you were highlighting it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I have his jersey too. It seems the jersey I buy, he leaves. The Nance left too.
You got Mobley's jersey now. We can't afford to lose him.
Oh yeah, hopefully he stays for a while.
All right, well, that's going to do it here for the Casual Sports Podcast. Stick around. You get to see Matt Morrison on Power Hour with the head coach from Badger. Should be a fun one there. That's coming up next on YSNLive.com. Matt Morrison and Mike Wolfgang. We'll see you all next week. Go Bengals.